Well, welcome back to another episode of the 5 Seasons of Marriage. This is session 6B. We have one more session 7 after this, but this is session 6B, the 5th season, Remarkable Love, years 36 and above. We talked about the first task last session, which is basically to prepare for retirement. And an emphasis on the word prepare. The second task we have to be involved in is accepting our limitations and changes. To grieve our limitations and to accept the unavoidable limitations of this season. First, there is the limitation of limited income. You're not making any more income. You've got a budget. You have limited income. Even that limited income is large, it's still a limited income. No matter how much money we made before retirement, we now need to budget that money. We are no longer able to make that expensive trip whenever we want, knowing that we can just, I'll just volunteer for extra hours when I get back at work. No, you can't do that anymore. There's no job to go back to get extra hours. No more overtime, right? There's also the limitation of perhaps failing physical health or failing hearing or failing eyesight, or failing memory, or failing strength, or failing mobility. These physical changes affect a couple's lifestyle greatly, and they can cause much frustration. Because all of these things, especially eyesight, hearing, things like that, can really affect your ability to communicate, your ability to make decisions if your memory's starting to fail. What? Did we really make a decision there? I can't remember. Things like that. And it could also be a lot more difficult to do things together to a couple, even something as simple as taking a walk together. If one of you is having hip pains or whatever, these things can become very could be very difficult. There's also the limitation of relationships. Okay? By this season, some of our dear friends are passing and leaving a void, a real void in our lives. And certainly if we've not already lost our parents, I can promise you're going to be losing your parents, your aunts, and uncles in the next few years if you're in this 5th season. So what can we do to accept our limitations and changes? Well, number one, we can amend our dream. Okay, we may need to amend our dream as, if necessary, as circumstances require. We may need to plan to do less things than we thought. Instead of going on a yearly trip, it may be every 2 years. Or instead of going around the world, it may be around the province or the state or your country. You may need to do things less or do things at a less interval, less frequent. And really, some parts of our dream we may need to let go of completely. Okay? You may never get to climb Mount Everest. Some things you just got to let go of. The second thing is we have to be sensitive to our partner's limitations. See, if our partner is less mobile, we may need to change the activities we do together. Or if our partner's hearing or eyesight are failing, your movie night may need to change dramatically. If they can't hear the TV or wherever your movie night is, if they can't see it properly, you may have to change things. In this season, it's very important for us to make our partner aware of our new limitations. I'll say that again. It is very, very important for us to make our partner aware of our new limitations. If our hearing is going, don't pretend it's not. Just don't say, well, you just don't speak up loud enough. Say, look, I'm really having trouble hearing. Please give me eye contact when you talk to me. Please come closer when you talk to me because my hearing is going. Just communicate your limitations and be sensitive to your partner's limitations. Whether they be physical or emotional or mental or social or whatever, communicate them. Okay? Don't cause your spouse frustration or get them guessing. Talk about them. Third thing, continue to develop social relationships. Although no one lives forever, It's very important to continue to develop social relationships, whether through church activities or community social activities. You know, meeting together once a week for breakfast or lunch with other friends, or doing activities together can bring so much joy and meaning and connection into our lives. So accept your limitations and changes. The third thing to do in this fifth season is, third task is to continue the renewing love. Like what? Yes, continue the renewing love. We must continue renewing our love by learning and accepting the physical changes in our spouse. We must learn to love each other beyond superficial reasons. That's why I call it remarkable love, or even transcendent love. It's deeper love. It goes beyond superficial things. We need to get past the wrinkles and past the physical disabilities and learn how to really love soul to soul. You know, let your wife, your spouse, really become a soulmate, not just a housemate, okay? You know, and if you do that, you will continue to enjoy physical and emotional intimacy for years to come. Okay? Couples in the fifth season can have a really unusual perspective on towards sex. Their sexual relationship can really go either way. If good sexual channels are open, and if there's no physical impediment to sexual relationship, this experience can go even deeper than ever before. Or it could be, or that your sexual relationship may have to change somewhat, but it can still be very meaningful. And you know, at this time when we're nearing the end of our story here on earth, we can feel even greater sexual fulfillment rather than saying, oh, well, you're just going to get the leftovers, right? So many people say that, oh, we're just, you know, you're old now, you're just going to get some leftovers. No, it can go deeper than ever before if you deepen your love, deepen your intimacy, deepen your communication. You know, and if illness or the death of a spouse makes sex impossible, spouses really, if they've had a deep love, they can really have a better capacity to accommodate that situation too. So continue the renewing love during this fifth season. Number 4 task, set new family boundaries. See, another trouble spot we often find in this fifth season is the interference by grandchildren and adult children in our daily lives. You know, if you don't have solid, comfortable boundaries set in place, then grandchildren and adult children can actually become way too much of a good thing. You know, the retired couple can find themselves becoming having to stop their own plans as they serve to be hosts, babysitters, emergency counselors. It is so important to set good family boundaries. Do not let your children drop off the grandchildren without warning. Unless you both agree to that, okay? Don't drop things at a moment's notice just because there's a little emergency in the family, unless you both agreed that this is allowable. You know, to some extent, being a counselor, being a babysitter for your grandchildren can be a good thing, because older couples have a lot of wisdom, they have a lot of life experience, and they can balance things that the youth don't have yet in their lives. However, too much is not a good thing, and it can erode a couple's own relationship, and you can start to resent your spouse for giving in to children and grandchildren demands, or you can become overwhelmed by them. So set good boundaries. You know, there's no right or wrong when it comes to setting family boundaries. Some couples like that. Wow, open door policy, yay, look, the grandkids are here again, like 2 nights in a row or whatever, right? But others just can't live with that. They need their alone time. They need their me time, right? Remember I said the he time, the she time, and the we time. Make your own policy and communicate your policy to your spouse, but also to your family. Let them know what's acceptable and what's not. Don't be afraid to stand up to family members who dishonor, who fail to honor your boundaries. You know, as we often say, relationships are everything to young children. And as we mature, material objects and financial security become more important. But now in this fifth season, we come full circle, right? We come really full circle. And couples begin to reorder priorities again, and relations become a lot more important. Relationships with children, not the not the mortgage, not the bank account anymore, not the membership in the country club anymore. Now it's all about relationships and with other human beings, especially family, but also relationship with God. And so what can we do to establish new healthy boundaries? Well, number one, set them and communicate them. Agree on them. As with your spouse, agree on your boundaries, set them, and communicate your desired boundaries to your children and to your grandchildren. And make sure that they know that you love them and you appreciate them, but you also have a need for private time in your life. And second thing, continue to guard your own relationship. As I said in season 3 about child-proofing your relationship, now in this fifth season, it's kind of like grandchild-proofing your relationship. Guard your own relationship with your spouse and learn how to say a healthy no to your children and grandchildren. A healthy marriage requires healthy time together, no matter what season of marriage you are in. One last task. Achieve a transcendent perspective toward your partner and to life. As you look back over your lives, we need to learn how to view our previous pain with meaning and purpose. All those tough things you went through have built foundation in your life. They built perseverance. They built character in your life. And we need to have a transcendent perspective towards our partner, but also towards life in general. It was those times of pain that developed character and perseverance in your life. And we can view our aging marriage as an opportunity for new purpose and new intimacy. It's not the end yet, folks. You can go deeper in your relationship. You can find new purpose even in this fifth season. This fifth season of remarkable love or transcendent love is a profound and peaceful perspective towards our partner and towards our life. That's what a transcendent or remarkable love is all about. Really a profound perspective, a peaceful perspective towards your partner and to life in general. This love, this fifth type of love, this remarkable love does not depend on the smoothness of your relationship. I know couples in this fifth season, you'd think they were bickering all the time, but what a depth of relationship. They have the freedom to share their minds no matter what. And they're always accepted and always loved. This type of love means that there's been a radical shift in our perspective to our spouse. It's not that we're somehow suddenly oblivious to pain, or that we suddenly we can suddenly say goodbye to everything we cherish in life. Instead, it's the ability to rise above the pain. It's the ability to continue to love in spite of the pain, in spite of the misunderstandings. That's what this remarkable love, this transcendent love is all about. And a large part of developing a transcendent perspective is to rediscover and accept God's purpose for our lives in our marriage and also as individuals. We continue to serve God with joy, and we discover that there's still so much that we can contribute to our spouse and to our church and to our society, even in this fifth season. Well, how do we achieve a transcendent perspective towards our partner and the life? Well, why not make a list of your lessons learned? Make a list of all you've learned through your trials, through your pain, and thank God for what He's taught you over the years and done in your life over the years. And if you have been keeping a journal, you know what? This could be a really great thing to do in this fifth season. Just better yet, write a set of memoirs to leave to your children and grandchildren. You know how meaningful that is? To give your children and grandchildren just a set of memoirs of the lessons learned through life and give them to your children at Christmas some year or at a special event and just say, I want to leave you a legacy of all the things we've learned and our gratefulness and the pain we've been through and what lessons we've learned to give you tools that you can overcome in your life too. Wow, what a legacy that would be. You know, it could be one of the greatest legacies that you leave your kids, lessons that you've learned that you can pass on to the next generation. So make a list of lessons learned. Second thing, make a list of possible contributions and select one. Okay, make a list of all the ways you can still contribute to society in your senior years. You can brainstorm with your spouse and come up with ways you can serve as a couple, but also as individuals. And then choose one and just start to do it. You know, even if you're in a wheelchair, you can still volunteer for telephone counseling or after-school mentoring or mentoring young men in business or marriage mentoring is such a need today to sit down with other couples and together mentor them to be strong in their relationships, maybe even using these tools I'm giving you in this course. Teaching others the life skills you've learned in life. Make a list of those possible contributions, select one, and then do it. Third thing, write a love letter to your spouse. Wow, if you've never done it before, now is a great time to write a love letter to your spouse. Let them know that even after all these years and all the challenges and all the misunderstanding, you know, just let them know how grateful you are for them sticking with you through these years of your life. Let them know how important it is that they've shared their life with you. Let them know what you've learned from them. Let you know the things about them that you still appreciate even to this day. And then set aside some time for a special occasion and give it to them. Or even more meaningful, read it to them. Read your love letter to them. It may take you a lot of tears, it may take you a lot of time to read the whole thing, but man, what an amazing thing you can do to move into this season of transcendent love or remarkable love. You know, and if your spouse has already passed on, write the letter anyway. Write the love letter anyway and read it to them as if they were still in the room. And your feelings of love and your gratefulness to them will deepen even more as you read it out loud, even if your spouse is no longer around. You know, I encourage you to work on this 5th season, the 5 tasks. What are those 5 tasks of remarkable love? Number 1, prepare properly for retirement. Emphasis on the word prepare. Number 2, accept your limitations and changes in your emotional life, your physical life, your relationship. Continue the renewing love process in this 5th season. Set new family boundaries so you can guard your he time, she time, and we time, and continue to invest in your marriage relationship. And 5, achieve a transcendent perspective towards your partner and your life. Your task again, or your assignment, as it always is for each one of these tasks, as an individual, evaluate how successful you feel you've been as a couple in completing each task. It's never too late. Even if you're in your 70s, it's never too late. Write down any tasks that you feel are incomplete and how you feel they have affected your relationship. 3, make a list of reasonable strategies that you feel you can work on as a couple to complete every outstanding task. And then sit down with your spouse, discuss your findings, and come up with an agreement, come to an agreement on how you as a couple can begin to complete all unfinished tasks. We're almost at the end, I should say. Next session is a shorter session. We're just going to summarize the things you've been learning, that you can again look at them one more time, to remind you of them, and then we're done this series on the 5 seasons of a marriage. I hope to see you one more time as we conclude this series. God bless you. And I pray, you know what, I'm going to pray right now. Father, I pray for every couple watching these videos, God, you would strengthen their marriage. You would give them a fresh love for each other. You would give them strategies and patience and perseverance to really nurture their marriage so that it lasts a lifetime, Lord God. Let them remember there's still a purpose for their marriage, and let them pursue that they can be imparting to the next generation everything that you've called them to. They will leave to the next generation. I bless each one in Jesus' name. Amen. See you next time. God bless you.